Ciao.
Ciao.
We're just getting started. I'm Sheila Donahue. I think I know all of you who are participating so far. Thanks for joining us. And I just ask that you keep yourself unmuted. This is our first VeroTalk using Zoom. So be a little patient in case there's some technical issues. I see that everyone that's participating is, in my view, on my PC, I see everybody in these little squares.
That's Andrew.
So, we met. But let's say the main speakers are the wine producers. So that's Antonella Manuli.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So Antonella is with La Maliosa, which is based in Maremma, Tuscany. That's I consider that the wild west of Tuscany. It's like southwestern, going towards the Mediterranean Sea. We have Rafaela Merlin.
Hi everyone. Good morning.
Ciao. Ciao.
So Rafaela, along with her husband Giuseppe, founded Bugno Martino, which is in the province of Mantua. That's like north central Italy. Okay, there we go. We have Hilde and Francesca Petrusa. So Hilde is the second generation woman winemaker. Her winery is Vigna Petrusa, and they're in Friuli, which is northeastern Italy. And if you could show us your vineyards.
I don't see them.
Yeah. You cannot see anything of the day.
What?
Speak up. Speak dark.
Can you hear me?
It's very dark.
Oh, it's dark. Okay. Anyway, their vineyards are right next to their house where they are, but it's dark in Italy. And then we have Patty Mitchell. Patty Mitchell's in California, sunny California, in Ojai, which is in like, if you know, I know like Matt and you know.
Between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles, right in the middle.
Yeah, it's just south of Paso Robles. So, so I think we can, oh wait, I have to admit everybody. So people are still joining us, but I'll just kind of continue with this intro. So I'm Sheila Donahue. I founded Vero after living in Italy for 20 years and becoming a sommelier there. And Vero means real in Italian. And what Vero does is that we curate and sell wines and olive oils with a story and a sense of place to businesses and consumers around the United States. Vero is about connecting passionate, sustainable producers around the world, like the ones I just introduced you to. And Vero brings their products direct to you, including buying online and shipping to your homes. And the event that we have today wraps up Women's History Month, and most of the producers that Vero supports are many of the producers that Vero supports have women owners, and also another aspect of Vero producers, including the ones I just introduced you today, is that they have their own vineyards, and some of them have olive tree groves as well. And so that gives them an additional dimension, is that they're also farmers. And even though we're all stuck in our homes.
Yeah, but I have mud boots on. I have my mud boots on. How about we can see them?
So Okay, so during today's VeroTalk, we'll spend the first part hearing from these women that I just introduced you to. So there will be Q&A. And then the fun part of the virtual tasting will take place. So make sure you have a glass of wine with you, unless maybe you're in California, like I see Dana there. It's still a little early, but
I already poured mine. I'm ready.
they will be sharing with you what one of their favorite varietals, what type of dish that you would pair it with, and then we'd like to hear from you as well. So the last part will be hearing from you, your participants, and then any Q&A. So we'll start in, and I'd like to start with Hilde and Francesca. So if you can tell us how Hilde, it's really, the question's directed to Hilde, but Francesca is going to basically be talking because she knows English better, frankly. But how did you get into wine growing and winemaking?
So it's always been like a family business. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It's always been a family business. Before, the vineyard was run by my grandfather, and then by my grandmother, because he died quite early. And my grandmother was producing wine just in a basic way for local people. Then my mother decided to retire on her 50s, and she thought that to go back to her hometown and to her origins was like a good option. And she rediscovered all her passion about her land, about her, all her memories that were connected with this area. And she discovered that she really liked, because when she was working, she got married, she moved in a little town that was, like it was a proper town. Here we are in the middle of nowhere. We are in the Friuli, next to Slovenian border, so it's mainly countryside. And she rediscovered how much love she had and how great was her passion for wines. So she started from scratch. Of course, she had like a strong background because the wine was always produced in the family, but she took some courses as a wine taster, so as a sommelier, and she started to study, how to produce a good wine and how to implement what my grandmother had, and then she discovered a lot of new techniques that were useful to produce, a good level of wines, and so she rediscovered a passion, and she started like her second chance in her life with a huge passion and a huge enthusiasm.
Beautiful. Bella, beautiful.
I think that she has more energy now than when she was on her 40s.
Okay, and so Raffaella, how did you and your husband get into winemaking?
Bugno Martino is not a secular winery. Bugno Martino is a love story winery, because when I was 20, I studied in Milan. I was concentrated on my career, on my job. I had a job waiting for me in London. I didn't look for a boyfriend, family, life in the countryside. And then I met Giuseppe, who is my husband actually. And my life has changed because I leave my city and I come back to the countryside we always have been wine lovers, so we used to spend our holidays and our free time visiting and discovering small winery, producing good wines. And my husband didn't like to drink Lambrusco because he said that the most of Lambrusco is industrial Lambrusco, so he didn't like this wine. But we decided to turn our passion into a job. So we start planting our vineyard 12 years ago. Then we built our winery and we start producing our wines. Our wines born from the field and from the countryside. We make artisan wine, natural wine. So we realized our dream.
Thanks, Raffaella. And Antonella, tell us your story.
Okay, my story, I had a lot of different lives. So I'm not your typical winemaker because I don't have a family history in winemaking. I didn't inherit anything, and actually I just fell in love with the place, which was Maremma, because I started working in tourism there in 1990, and basically I was there almost every week for like 30 years now. But what happened is when I was working in this big resort in Maremma, I had a lot of time to drive around, and I was really impressed by the natural, the wild landscape of Maremma, which is something very unusual for Italy, because Italy is a very populated country, and there are very, very few areas that remain unspoiled completely like Maremma. And so when I was going around to visit places, I always thought, why isn't anybody making an agricultural project based on sustainability, and that can really, dimmi valorizzare in inglese, come si dice, that can really...
kind of brings it down, let's say.
No, that really, like the main thing is really environment there, okay? So why aren't we doing something that is really putting environment first? And so to produce something from the land, I really wasn't thinking necessarily about wine, that has, reflects the environment, and that can be healthy and very good. And so I started looking for land, which I bought with this idea. So the hard part was to find some land that had an old vineyard on it, which is not something very easy to do in Tuscany. In Tuscany, you have very intensive viticulture, and usually the vineyards are rotating every 20 years. So it's not so easy to find an old vineyard. I finally found this vineyard, which is now about 60 years old, and this was the inspiration for my project, because we could study all the varieties, which are the very ancient varieties from, typical from this place, which I can tell you the names. You probably never heard of them, like in the white there is the Procanico, and then we have Cilieggiolo, we have Grey Cannonau, of course we have Sangiovese because we are in Tuscany, we have Ansonica. And so what we did is we planted the new vineyards using materials, the vegetal materials, the buds from the old vineyard when we could. It wasn't always possible to do everything this way, but most, so we grafted this material onto the rootstocks, and so with the idea of making, the healthier wine possible, So we are in the category of natural wines, of course. So we don't add anything, zero sulfites, very small production. We only, in good years, we produce around 25,000 bottles. And you know, it depends from 20 to 25,000 bottles. And everything is done by hand. We are obsessed really by doing everything. We follow every single step of production, and that's it. We also make a lot of olive oil, like Sheila was mentioning, because the thing was to really concentrate on agriculture, so not just the winemaking. So we have a big farm. It's about 165 hectares, and we produce a lot of hay. We have 3,700 olive trees about, which is quite a lot to manage for an artisan production of olive oil. And then we have planted 10 hectares of vineyard, but only 5 now are in production. Sorry, I'm a little bit long.
Molto bene, molto bene.
And Patty?
Patty, let's see. 40 years, I went to Italy, Piemonte, ago, in 1980. And I've been going back since. I have many lifelong 40-year friends in Piemonte. I learned at that point to drink red wine and fell in love with it. In 2011, my daughter here, Jacqueline, decided to be, this is Jacqueline. In 2011, she decided to become a chef. So we put her in Asti, Castello,
Castiglione d'Asti.
Okay, in a cooking school, and she became a chef. So she's still there since 2011. Now she's working for Sheila. And she also owns 50% of our property, our vineyard and winery. And we also have a wine candy company that she and I are partners on. And Jacqueline has done more work physical than I in our vineyard in California. So she's very prized of our wine. So what happened in 2011 is I spent 3 years tasting red wines, having a great time in Piemonte. And I found one thing in common with every producer. I mean, from Cavallotto, the best Barolo producer, to, you know, a small producer. Everyone had an interesting patch of grapes. And most of them weren't selling it, except in a town called Doliani. And I asked them, these producers, what is this interesting, you know, 2 hectares of grapes that you have? Oh, that's Dolcetto. Oh, well, what is Dolcetto? Well, that's what we drink. Oh, that's what you drink as a producer. Oh, yes, that's what we drink. So I looked into Dolcetto, and I started drinking every Dolcetto I could find. And I decided then, in comparing the geology that I have in California, that Dolcetto would be a good grape for me to start with in California after 3 years. And the situation with that is I'm at 3,000 feet, and I have a south-facing slope of the Pacific Ocean, cool night, and I have a solid ocean floor of shale at up 3,000 feet. We found a 3-foot large whale jaw on top of our mountain from the ocean. So the soil replicated what I found in the towns that grew Dolcetto. Very similar. And so I thought, here we go, this is it. And I wanted to start with Nebbiolo because I love a Nebbiolo grape, obviously. But I didn't because it's a little more finicky, and I decided I'd start with the Dolcetto. So it took me 18 months, and I bench grafted. I grafted Dolcetto in Northern California, up in Napa, to a California rootstock. And after 18 months, my vines were delivered and I planted my vineyard. This was 10 years ago. I love you guys. I love Italy because of your history. I'm a history buff. I read every book you can put in front of me on history. And so that is one of my main loves of Italy. And so I got sidetracked. Sorry. So we don't exist in an old society, especially in California. Like, you guys are blessed with museums and history in Italy. Appreciate them, trust me. So I left my vines grow 7 years. Everyone was saying, harvest in 3, make your wine in 3. I said no. And so I wanted them old. And to me, 7 years was old. That's a joke, Antonella, to you. But to me, that was old. So we grew them 7 years, and then we produced the first Dolcetto in 2017. I have 2017 bottled, 2018 and 2019s in the barrels, French oak barrels. And it's getting better every year. Sheila, thank you, my dear, found me a new winemaker for the 2019 that's in barrels, who's fabulous. No sulfites. My entire vineyard is rainwater sustained. I have 50,000 gallons of rainwater trenched, 3 levels all over my property. And so I only water the vineyard with rainwater, which we don't get a lot of here, you see. So I have to capture 50,000 gallons every year of rainwater. And that's what I do. And we use no poisons. We use nothing. It's basically organic, but I don't have the certifications because I didn't want the US government on my property 24 hours a day. So I do not have the certification. So this, how do I show the wine?
We could show it. We could show it later.
Okay, so that's my story. I'm done. That's my story. Thank you for listening.
Patty.
Thank you.
Thank
It's a nice story.
you. Grazie mille.
Okay, so the next question for all of you is, where do you like to be better, in the vineyard or the wine cellar? So we'll start with Hilde Petrusa.
She loves to be in the vineyard because she loves to see how the nature is evolving and changing, and to check every single steps of the growing of the plants and the transformation of the plant. And then she likes to be in the nature just because she feels free. She feels free from every type of stress. So she feels free to think and to see her plants and all the little animals growing around and how the vegetation is changing. But you know, she likes to be everywhere. She's a freak controller. So yeah, but where she enjoys most is to go around and have a hard selection of the grapes, and you know, everything is done manually to try to avoid, you know, the tracks to go up and down the vineyard to destroy the, you know, the plants and the vegetation that is around the vineyard as well.
And Rafaela, where do you prefer to be, in the vineyard or the wine cellar?
I'm the factotum of the winery because we are just 2, and Giuseppe is concentrated in the field, and in the countryside there is a lot of work to do, We follow the rules of organic cultivation. So we live in our area. There's a lot of humidity. We have a lot of problems with weather. So we live every day in the field to prevent the illness of the vineyard. So Giuseppe works in the vineyard, and when he needs help, I go to work with him. But then I deal with administration, wine tour, babies, family. Everything a woman has to do with a work and with an husband, right? So, but my favorite work is in the cellar. Yeah.
Antonella?
Well, yes. No, I mean, I am a country woman. I like to be in the open. If you put me inside, I go crazy. So, and I like a lot to do things with my hands. So whenever I can, I am outside. Yeah.
And Patty?
The same. Ditto. I like to be outside. I like open air, and I like to be in the vineyard. And right now we're in the process of building our winery. So I have a winemaker that's about a half a mile from me. And so I let him do most of the cellar work at the moment. But I enjoy being outside. I'm a country woman that's 45 minutes from Los Angeles. That makes any sense.
And I know we got a question from Matt, which is what grapes are grown in each vineyard, but maybe we can defer that to the second part of our VeroTalk, where each winemaker will have a glass of wine to share. So so we'll cover that question then.
I already started, Sheila. I'm sorry.
Thanks for the question, Matt. So, and then, yeah, so the next question for you guys is how has this coronavirus situation impacted your lives and your livelihood? So we'll start with Hilde Petrusa.
It's been like a big shock, I guess, for everybody, because nobody was thinking to be locked for weeks after weeks, without being able to carry on with the normal life. For us, it's good because I usually live in Milan, and I moved here to the countryside. So for my parents, it's a good opportunity to spend a lot of time together, even if we are very noisy, because I have 2 boys, so they produce a lot of noise. And then on the other side, even if we cannot do much on the vineyard because everything is blocked, the good thing that we started to use like this type of wine tasting, so probably get to know other type of technique and communication with other people, or anyway, it gave us a time to reflect on what we are doing, and to call our clients, to speak with them, and so to give more one-to-one attention to the clients that we have. Everybody is struggling, everybody has different different and complicated situation, but just being able to make a phone call and discuss and open your mind and describe how you are and how they are living this situation is a good opportunity, because you analyze the market, but you get to know better, in particular the private clients or the supplier anyway.
See.
Raffaella, how has this impacted you?
Coronavirus had a great impact on our lives. We live in Lombardy, where everything started. We even if we are not in the center of the contagion, we've been in the house for 1 month, so it's difficult. It's difficult. We work in the vineyard. We just finished the pruning. Spring is coming, and the first buds are coming up. So we live in our vineyard at the moment, and sure, coronavirus increased our consumption of bottles of wine because we use wine in these days because it's helpful for the mind. It brings sweet moments because in the night or as aperitif you open a bottle, and wine is positive for this moment, not just for winemaker but also for I think.
But because you get a lot of special moments, quiet moments with no rush with your family, of course, you know. And so you sit down, you enjoy a good meal, and you drink a good glass of wine. They usually are always rushing and never enjoying, you know,
Of course.
Do you know what we do? We usually meet other people around, and you know, we stop and we leave the bottle. We exchange bottle between neighbors, taste the neighbors' wine, because we cannot spend time together. So we exchange in the vineyard. We leave the bottles and we exchange between us. That is another way of you know, bonding with your neighbors.
Yeah.
And a lot of Hilde's neighbors are also winemakers. So.
Yeah, because this is an area with a lot of wine, little small wine producer, all nice people, all with different tradition and way of producing wine. So it's good. It's nice. Of course, that is difficult. When we will come out, you know, we will need to work very hard to go back, you know, to a sort of routine. But we need to take a good part of the situation, you know, as much as we can.
Antonella?
Well, for me, it's really not easy, because what happened when the lockdown began, our family was scattered around. Like my husband and my daughter, they were in Switzerland. My son was near Ferrara in the middle of nowhere, and I was just coming up to Milan from Maremma. So I turned my car around to get my son and was like driving for 10 hours. Because the point was to try not to, you know, be one on one side and the other on another. And so I got my son in the middle of the night and drove to Switzerland, and really felt like I was fleeing from some kind of crazy war all of a sudden. I have been exiled here since the 8th of March. And not very easy to work. I don't have a bottle of wine for you tonight. I'm sorry. I have a mystery wine, which is not mine, but I have no label. It's been very hard to manage my farm from here. And the good thing is we are together as a family here in Switzerland. But really not easy, because we are in a small apartment, and my husband needs to work there. I have a daughter and a son who are following online classes during the day, and I have to go into the bathroom to make a phone call. I mean, it's just completely crazy. So I totally feel like a refugee. I really do. Luxury refugee, if you may, but still, you know. And also Switzerland is not a very severe lockdown, but still in lockdown. So there's nothing open here besides supermarkets and pharmacies. You can't really go out, and hospitals in Switzerland are about to reach their capacity for intensive care. They are they just issued a statement today that by next Thursday, the hospitals will be full. So we expect, we have been called by the town that wants to know how many foreigners are still here, and we have been, you know, we had to sign in. So we expect once they reach capacity, they will basically throw the foreigners out. I am going to leave on Monday anyway, hoping not to be blocked by Italian police, because I will go down to Maremma, and then sometime later on, I don't know when, they will join me. But the thing is really, which is really terrible, is the uncertainty of the whole situation, because, you know, borders are closing. I'm going down on Monday because I'm not really sure that the borders will still be open maybe in a couple of weeks. So I can't afford now, as you know, is a very critical time not to be in the farm, because, yeah, of course, you know, the workers are there, pruning is still going on, a lot of things are going on, we're planting new vineyards, so it's really quite a critical time.
I love something you said. I love the term of luxury refugee. Brava. Luxury refugee. May I use that in California? So Sheila, you might need to explain what I said.
I think she understood. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Good.
So how about you, Patty?
Well, unfortunately, my family's spread worldwide, so I'm sitting alone on top of 900 meters. I'm going to show you my fabulous helper, Andrew.
Is the view nearby? Can we look at?
I had to come in because it was cold. So we're at 60 degrees and I'm freezing by you know what. So I'm walking outside now. Sheila wanted me here. Andrew, how do I see? This is Andrew, my tech guy. Okay. So now how do I hold it? No. Okay. All right. So this is the view, but we have clouds, and the entire way of my turn here, the vineyard's down below. The entire way of my turn is the Pacific Ocean, but you can't see today because the clouds are in. And it's basically a 365-degree view of Ojai and to the north and Pacific View Ocean. And we have about 5,000 oak trees and 5 miles of paths and olive trees that you guys have all given me. But I am so small compared to you wonderful ladies. I'm only about 50 acres. I don't know how to translate that to hectares.
Your vineyard is only 1 hectare, 1 acre.
Yeah,
that's
very small. I have about 5 acres terraced, ready to plant, and I have about 100 olive trees. And that is where I'm at. Very small, but ready to plant a couple more varietals. And these are some mountains to the east, and this is the backside of one of my houses. And I don't know what else to show you. This is to be planted down here. I'm thinking Nebbiolo next, but I might try some olives. I might. So I'm going back in now. Enjoy the view as I walk.
All right. Thanks, Patty. Giving us a
cold out here for me.
We're all stuck in our homes. So.
I'm going back in. Okay. How do I switch it? Thank you. Okay. All right.
So I think we're on to the next part of our VeroTalk, which is maybe the funner part, let's say. So for each winemaker, we like to find out what we'll address Matt's question, which is what grapes do you grow? And then if you can share what wine you have to share with us today, and then tell us what recipe what's one of your favorite recipes to have with the wine. So we'll start with Hilde.
So we are mainly concentrated in autochthone wines, and so to local type of grapes. And we have the Ripolla Gialla, the Friulano, that was the Old Tokai. Then we have the Refosco, Schioppettino, and Piccoli. Then we have our production. We have 9 hectares, and we produce around 30,000 bottles per year. And some of the vineyard, they were very old, so from my grandfather's period, and some are more recent, like they've been planted on the 70s and the 80s. And we mainly try to produce local grapes first, because to give power and to reflect what is the typical products of the area. And then tonight we are going to taste the Schioppettino di Prepotto. That is, then I don't know, Sheila, when do you want me to explain the wine? If now or?
Yeah, now's the time. Yeah, maybe give us a background of Schioppettino.
We are going to drink, for one day we have the bottle of water we are going to drink. So the Schioppettino was it means explosion or gunshot. They don't really know if this depends from if this name is coming from the hard skin of the grape, or because when they were in the past, they were bottling this wine during the winter period. The bottle were exploding because they didn't have enough alcohol inside. Anyway, this was a wine that around 1,000 which 1,200 was used in a ceremony. So it was very popular, very famous, and used on special occasion. Then at the end of the 18th century, there was like the philosopher that destroyed a lot of the local grapes, and for a long time nobody was producing this wine. Then on the 70s, middle of the 70s, a winemaker decided to, because the local people were producing more commercial wine, following the international trends or the Italian trends, and then he decided he wants to replant all the autochthone wine, so the local grapes. So he's been fighting for a long time. Just few wine producers, they supported him. So at the beginning was not registered as a wine typical of the area. But in reality, is coming from the grape that is called Ripolla Nera, and there are different type of vinification. So some of the simple one that is done just in stainless steel can be called Schioppettino, or we call anyway Ripolla Nera. Then because this grapes is giving his best expression in this little town where we are from. There is the border with Slovenia, because of the hills, because of the that they create like a special area surrounded by the hills, where the strong wind that is called Bora, there is a very strong wind coming from Trieste, is creating like a huge dropping down, even of 15 degrees between day and night. And so this is giving more intensity to the wines, because the grape is, the bunches are very rich and consistent, but they are very fragile in front of the, you know, when they are under the sun. So the fact that there is this huge, how do you say, huge change of variation of the temperature is helping the wine to keep its intensity. And and then the soil of the area is called conca, and is a sort of stone that breaks in a lot of pieces, releasing a lot of minerality to the soil and then to the wine. And so they are very proud. You know, my mom is being one of the first wine supporter when started to be replanted in the area, and they wanted to become like the symbol of this part of Friuli Venezia Giulia. And it's my mom's favorite wine. So as I was saying, is big supporter, and is a wine that stands out, has this our Schioppettino di Perpoto, as I was saying, you know, you can vinify in different way. We put it in wood barrel for 18 months, and then 1 year in the bottle. And the intensity of the colors, of course you cannot really see, but the color is intense and is changing, is like a ruby, and is becoming darker while it's aging. And then the smell is sort of berries and how do you call the cherry? Like some cherries, like blueberries and cherries. But you know, the main characteristic of this wine are the hints of black pepper, black and green pepper, and as a flavor there are these fruity notes that are really persistent in your mouth, but they is more the spicy hints that are emerging while you are tasting. And this wine is very elegant and is very with a very good balance of tannins, and is very good mainly with meat, like with roasted or like with goulash or other type of red meat. And as a recipe, we decided to present to you. I don't know, then Sheila probably will send you all the recipes so you can try to do this on your free time.
Yeah, the recipe we'll be sending out a newsletter after this with the various recipes. But it's funny. So I think that it's pork shank, right? Is the name of the recipe?
It's the roast pork shank.
Yeah,
it's typical from this area. It's not very, you know, the food of this area is similar in the Italian version to the German flavors. Yeah.
It has a funny name.
So
Funny sound.
Region consistent with a lot of meat.
Yeah, in Italian it's called stinco, which, let's say, wouldn't be appealing in English to eat a meat called stinco, but it's good. It's very.
But the recipe that we are the recipe that we are suggesting is very easy, because it's like just putting all the ingredients in the oven, and then it's very good that if you blend the sauce of veg and on the sauce that release the pork, you can you know, either have with potato salad or with other veg, but even with the gnocchi. And so you can have like a real rich main course. And you need to drink this wine to refresh your mouth after having the pork shank.
Oh, fame.
So,
For us, it's too late. We're already hungry.
thank you. That was a good description. And I just wanted to do a time check. If all you guys, if you're able to stay on a little bit past the top of the hour, that would be great. Because I don't know about you, but I like hearing about the winemakers talking about their wines. So we'll just continue on past the top of the hour, and then definitely want you to participate. Towards the end of the session. So, Rafaela.
We have 3 different types of grapes, local grapes. We have Salamino, Ancelotta, and Grappello Ruberti. Grappello Ruberti is a typical grapes of our village. So we have 2 hectares of Grappello Ruberti, and we are the only one in our area to have this type of grape. We have 9 hectares. We use the organic cultivation, and my favorite grape is Salamino. Salamino is a great grape because it has great acidity, and if you grow it in the right way, you have a great acidity with great fresh fruit. The correct way for me is the low yield. You know that Lambrusco is a really generous vines. Okay, usually 1 hectare of Lambrusco can produce 2,000 or 3,000 quintals of grapes per hectare. And so we have a lot of grapes. We use the low yield, so we produce maximum 70 or 80 quintals per hectare. This is really important because this way we maintain all the property of the grape, and we don't need any addiction in the cellar after. And my favorite wine, I love this wine, is Essentia. Essentia is the core of our winery, I think. You see? Maybe I have to do
raise yeah.
Essentia, the name of the wine comes from the Latin. It's a Latin word that means the essential. The essential for a winemaker, for us, is the sun, the weather, the field, and love. Love for your job, for what you do, and for what you produce. So here there are only Salamino grapes with low yield, and this is an ancestral wines. So the second fermentation is in the bottle. Is a wine called Fondo, we say here in Italy. I don't know in America.
They actually use the same term, called Fondo. In America, yeah.
This is really important because indigenous yeast, wild yeast, are really important in order to maintain the flavors and the aromas of our terroir. The ancestral wines are live wine, always keep on changing and continue to improve in time. So today you drink a glass of an ancestral wine, and you drink another glass of wine now we are in March. In August, it will be different, and for sure, it will be better. So it's really amazing because you can see how nature continues to work in a bottle of wine. And it's amazing also because it's the type of wine that you don't expect, really different from all the other type of Lambrusco we are used to drink, okay? Really different from all the other type of Lambrusco we produce in our area. So with this wine, we wanted to bring him back the real local tradition, because maybe our grandfather produced ancestral wine, ancestral Lambrusco. So
what dish would you
May
drink?
I ask you a question? May I ask a question, Sheila? I have a question for you. I would like to know if your husband likes that Lambrusco.
Yes. Yes.
He does. Okay, bravo. Okay.
Yeah. He is never how do you say soddisfatto?
Satisfied. Yeah.
Satisfied.
Satisfied.
He is only looking to for a improve quality of our wines, and he make a lot of we try a lot of combination, a lot of production, but I think that this is the one we are really proud of. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
The dish.
And Sheila, do you have these wines of these wonderful winemaking ladies? Do you have these wines in Ventura?
Yeah. So,
okay. So will you make sure I get a bottle of everyone's wine? Please.
Next meeting, we are going to be all together somewhere. Physically all together.
I would love that.
Next time.
I would, bottle, because you have to open one bottle every 3 months, so you can see the transformation in the time.
What, every 3 months? Okay.
Yeah.
What dish would you recommend, Raffaella?
For me, the perfect dishes is risotto con la salsiccia with sausage rice. It's our typical dishes here in Mantova, and it's really easy to do also in America, in every part of the world, because you just need water, rice, and sausage. And then I send you the way to do a perfect. We call risotto alla pilota. This is the name of our rice.
Okay, yeah, be sure to send me the recipe. If it's in Italian, I can just translate it. So I did have that dish actually with Raphael and Giuseppe, and it's really good for being very, what sounds like a simple dish. It's very tasty.
In Mantova, we have 7 pigs for a person. So our typical dishes are all with pig, because we have a lot of pigs. So
I love piggy. I love it.
Oh. Antonella.
Okay, so I show you my wine.
Ciao for now. We have to go. Bye.
Sorry.
Bye. Thanks, Dennis.
Bye.
See ya. Sorry. I just wrote it. Okay, bye. I don't want to interrupt. Bye.
Thank you.
Ciao. Grazie mille.
Thank you.
So this is my wine. And I have my virtual bottle here. So this is made from this very, very ancient variety, which is called Procanico, Porcanico was already cultivated by the Romans. It was mentioned by Plinio, you know, the Roman agronomist. And it's very typical from the Pitigliano volcanic area. Pitigliano is a little town beneath the Mount Amiata. Amiata in Tuscany is an extinct volcano. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry I moved it around. I had to change locations. Excuse me for interrupting. Go ahead.
And
Just a minute, because Dana, sorry, Dana, I didn't know you were out of the meeting. So I know Dana wants to go and visit you, Antonella. You remember? You can unmute yourself.
Sorry?
My computer died. Yeah, we were hoping to come meet you. My mother and I.
Yeah. You
are
wrote
all,
me.
yes, yes. We're all starting a vineyard here in Orange County in Southern California. So, and we also have a wine club company. So, any advice you have for first-time wine growers, we'd love to have it. So we're trying to learn, and we're trying to do everything really with regards to the environment and agriculture as well, and with like the Carino method and things. So.
Oh, really? You have been to Lorenzo's house.
I've been
Right.
to Lorenzo's house. I went last fall. My boyfriend knew of him. He had drank his wine before.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're all very new into everything. And then we met Sheila, and it's been such a fun ride. But now it's a very strange time, so we're trying to get everything
Our
planted.
trips to Italy got canceled.
Yes.
When you're you will be able to travel.
Yeah, no.
So we're seeing, but we're reading a lot and trying to just learn as much as we can while we're in quarantine.
Well, you need to come see me before you leave after the quarantine.
Yeah,
I would love to have you come and have a glass of wine with me.
Thank you so much. I would love that. Yeah, I would really.
You're very welcome. I look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So
Antonella, I don't think everyone knows what the Carino method is, so maybe you can also talk about that.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how much time I have anyway. I didn't mention that most of my project was done with this person who's called Lorenzo Carino. He's a pioneer in sustainable viticulture in the world, I would say. He's been doing it for more than 40 years. And he was working in the national research in viticulture, and also is a producer in Piedmont. So what was interesting is quite a unique experience, because what he was researching, then he could apply at home. So he was in touch with the best research, the national and international, because he was, of course, working with the Ministry of Agriculture, and he was willing to experiment, and always with an eye of the most sustainable production. Well, everybody knows today, everybody wants to be sustainable. It wasn't so 40 years ago, so he's really a pioneer in it. And I was very fortunate to meet this person when he was retiring in December 2012, just when I needed somebody to work with me to plant the new vineyards. And when he saw the place, La Magliosa, I'm sure Sheila, you agree, is a very, very beautiful place, and also very interesting as far as the soil characteristics. And he liked the idea of being able to plant vineyards from scratch with the idea of producing natural wine. So we worked together now for a few years, and while we were planting, we also furthered the research in Magliosa. And what this became after 4 or 5 years of experimenting, it became a method, and a method that we submitted for being patented, and it was approved as a patent in May 2019. So you know that to achieve a patent, you need to prove in front of a scientific board that you are providing some kind of innovation. So this was demonstrated, and all of our wines, which I cannot show now, my wines and his wines. Maybe you have a bottle there, right? Thank you, Sheila. You can see there, it's written Metodo Corino on the label. So what the Metodo Corino is, basically, is from planting of the vineyard until you get your wine in the bottle, is a method for producing natural wine. So it's not just, oh, I am not adding sulfites, okay? It's not just that. In order to be able to do basically nothing in your cellar, you really need to create the conditions in your vineyard. And if you're lucky enough to be able to plant vineyards from scratch, well, you achieve even more these conditions, okay? So what this means at large, for instance, we are planting all of our vineyards according to the slopes. So we're not planting from top to bottom like is typical in Tuscany. We're only using historical varieties. I don't use the word autochtono. I don't use this word on purpose because you may know that any variety that has been on the Italian soil for 50 years is considered autochthonous.
Okay,
so
thank you.
What basically this means that any variety in the world can be autochthonous Italian. We are really looking more for historical varieties that are very adapted to the terroir. For instance, in Maremma is quite extreme climatic conditions. You can have extreme drought, you can have extreme floods, you can have whatever you want extreme, okay? So not all varieties, and we don't irrigate. So not most varieties are not, you are not able to cultivate there unless they're very, very adapted for centuries to the place. This was, by the way, also one of the reasons why I was looking for an old vineyard to give me a clue about what was really there. And it's interesting what's happening now, because when I started my project, everybody was considering me totally crazy locally. So the crazy woman, you know, coming from Milan doing something off the wall. What's happening now? Everybody now is coming to me, all the local people, and I'm finding a lot of older vineyards that was impossible to find before, and offering me to manage their vineyard. So this is, I will be able to find even more historical varieties. I have a few news for you, Sheila, next time you come.
Okay.
Very nice.
Strange names.
You're the wine that you wanted to select. I understand it's not your wine, but maybe you can just tell us what type of varietal is your favorite and what kind of dish you would have with it.
Yes, it's the Procanico, like I was saying, is the variety. Procanico is quite an interesting grape. When it's ripe, it becomes pink. Maybe you can see just a little bit from my phone. Let's see.
Okay.
Very nice.
It can be even more pink than this. In good years, it's very pink. This is a sign when you have a good year that your Procanico becomes pink. When the conditions are not right, it doesn't. So we had a couple of years where it really couldn't achieve the pink, which was 2014 and also 18. In fact, this is one of the reasons why, Sheila, we didn't produce Uni in 2018. You have, everything was declassified to the Saturnia, which you have in your hand, which is our entry level.
Yeah, so this has Procanico in it. So.
Procanico, but also Trebbiano, which is, you know, the big bunch and a lot more common in Tuscany. So Procanico is a rare grape, and Trebbiano is not. And we, in our winemaking, we ferment together with the skins. So technically, it's in the category of orange wines. This is the way that wine was done historically in Maremma, like I think basically everywhere in the world, because before you got your cellar technology. So it's interesting, you know, when I have local people drink this wine made from Procanico, I always get the comment, it's the wine that my grandfather used to make. So this to me is really a compliment, because for many decades people stopped making their wine and you know, they made the very filtered, very technological wines, and for a generation they kind of forgot their history. And I brought back this history to the area of Maremma, which is
wonderful.
Quite happy, yeah.
What taste do you like to have with Procanico, Antonella?
Okay, Procanico, you can have it with red meat. You can have a very nice Fiorentina steak with your Procanico. And this was a wine really that people used to drink for the whole meal. So you know, you can also have it with a soup like the acqua cotta soup, which is typical of Maremma, with onions, vegetables, egg, and bread.
What kind of soup is it called?
Acqua cotta. It means cooked water. because it was a poor dish, you know.
So a lot of us will be eating.
I know. And yeah. So it was a very poor area. So you needed to cook everything, you know, to make with whatever you had. So this was cooked water, and of course red meat, but also with creamy desserts. It's very good with mascarpone and tiramisu.
Very good.
Because it really makes your mouth quite dry, you know, but that's quite a lot of tannin.
Okay, and Patty?
Well, I won't take much of our time. So with my Dolcetto, we've left it in the barrel 1 year, the 2017 and the 2018. The new winemaker I'm working with this year, we've decided to leave it in the barrel 2 years, because he has a lot of reasons why he believes it's going to be better for our grapes and our wine. And he doesn't add anything, and he's natural, and I'm very happy with him. Sheila and I know him quite well. So I'm going to let Sheila describe my wine as far as what you taste in it. I like it very much. I'm very pleased with the outcome of the 18 months spent grafting, the 7 years growing. I'm very, very pleased with the result of our Dolcetto. You absolutely can drink it and eat it with everything. It pairs with everything. And I don't have a favorite dish to offer because my chef left me. She's on the phone right now in Italy. So I eat, you don't want to know, everyone, what I eat. You would be appalled. And so she was home.
I put 4 containers of soup in the freezer, Mom, before I left.
I know, but Sheila brought me a huge Zucco pumpkin, and when she was here, and Jackie cooked it and made me soup, and I ate it every day for a month. The Zucca zuppa. And so I don't have a favorite dish because I drink my dolcetto with everything, and I don't cook any longer. I used to cook for many, many years, and unfortunately, my chef's in Italia. So that's my story. Sheila, you can explain quickly for everyone what you believe my dolcetto tastes like, and the bouquet, the finish, etc. Palate, mid.
Yeah, so dolcetto is definitely different than your typical Italian dolcetto, and I think you can attest to that because
I like it very much.
Patty had brought a bottle with her to Italy and asked the Piemontese to try it. Frankly, it's probably because it is aged in oak, and a lot of dolcettos, the ones that I've had in Italy are steel fermented. So so I think aging in oak, frankly, does give it. It does make it more of an easy to drink wine, meaning that it's nice on its own and it's nice with food. And then, well, I'll ask Jackie for one of her favorite recipes, dishes. Jackie, I mean, what type of dolcetto? What type of recipe do you like with dolcetto?
I think the dolcetto goes good with everything. Ours in particular, as you said, the oak aging and the little bit hotter climate we have in California leads it to be a little bit heavier than normal. So I tend to go, I like it. I think it goes great with, you know, a roast meat or something. Tonight I had it with a chili dog and it went great. So I can attest to that much. But I think I definitely, I like it with roast. I also love it as like an aperitivo kind of happy hour to eat with salami and cheese and crackers, because it can tend towards the lighter side in certain areas as well. So
the color is beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see the color here. So it has more body than, and you hope it has more body than a dolcetto that's in steel. You know, and I really like that about it. Very much so. I'm interested to see what 2 years in the oak's going to do to it, but I think it's going to be great. So that's the difference between my California dolcetto and your Italian dolcetto.
Okay. Well, thank you. This let's say wraps up the sort of the questions we have for the producers, and we are over on time. In fact, unfortunately, we did have a couple of people that left because they had to do other things, of course. But if you, Dana, I don't know if you want to, if you have any more comments, if you want to share anything with us, and also for everyone else, Terry, Jessica, and Jackie.
Yeah, so we are starting out like a wine club and hopefully a vineyard in the next couple years. And we just kind of, in general, what is everybody's recommended first 3 steps when into getting into the wine industry?
For me,
go for it.
It's a really difficult question. For me, the first important thing is to drink a lot of wine before.
Perfect. Got that. Because you have to choose what type of wine do you like and what type of wine do you want to make. And also when you will know it, it will be different to do it. It will be really difficult to do it. So you have to do clear ideas to what you want to obtain. Okay,
Okay.
And
Drink a lot.
you have to drink a lot of wine. Okay?
Mhm.
Not
Yes.
you have to drink a lot of wine. Yeah.
What a shame.
Is
Yeah,
important.
take a notepad. I mean, I photographed when I started drinking in Italy. Well, I was your guys' age, you young girls, but that was in the early 80s. But this last time, you know, I had a journal with me. I labeled everything I drank. I took photos of every bottle, printed them, put them in my journal, handwritten notes. And I kept track of everything I drank and why I liked it and what I didn't like about it, and I went from there. So record, whether it's just with your phone, however you record today, drink, record, and I agree with. I apologize. I don't remember who just spoke. What is your name?
Rafaela.
Rafaela, I appreciate your comments. I agree with them totally.
Awesome, thank you.
Antonella?
Well, for me, it's just to keep your mind open, be very humble, and try to learn all the time. Learn every day. I mean, never, you know, accept things just, you're going to hear a lot of like truth, you know. People are going to tell you things are that way. Just try always to understand the reason why you're doing something and the reason behind something. And for me, it's just to try to learn.
Yes, I raised thoroughbred horses for 18 years, and I equate cavalli very much to the vino, because you get different opinions from everyone. Know that. It was the same thing in the thoroughbred, the horse industry. Everyone had a different opinion of a saddle, a style, a discipline, a food, an oat, everyone. And you really have to become centered, and you really have to learn and study and find what works for you, what you believe in, where your passion is, and you cannot be led by others' opinions. You need to learn from others' opinions, but you cannot be led from them. You must remain centered. And that is a correlation I have drawn when I left the thoroughbred industry, when my daughter became a chef in Italy. The horses went. And then we started growing, and very similar industries, believe it or not, very similar industries. And so keep learning. I love this. I just finished a trilogy on Attila the Hun. I know Jackie's rolling her eyes, but Attila said, keep your eyes open and your heart humble, and you will learn 1,000 new things every day. And believe it or not, that was from Attila the Hun. So keep your eyes open, keep your heart humble, and you will learn 1,000 new things every day. Keep learning and find your own passion and let your own heart lead you. And I'm through. Thank you.
Francesca and Hilda?
So nice. Thank you guys so much.
Depends where you start from, because it's very important to taste every wine and to understand what you really like and what is your real passion and how you want to drink your wine, how you want to present your wine to somebody else. But depends if you have already a land and you own already, or you don't want to move from the area where you are based. You need to start to study where you are coming from. So the type of lands and which type of grape can grow in that area. So that is very important as well, because you need to start from like a point. If you if they're planning, you need to start to check on that land what can grow, or what is the typical vineyard that's is tough enough to the best characteristic and to give the best results, and then you start from there. Then of course passion and tasting and comparing, because like in this, as I was saying, in these days that we were trying the wines of our neighbors, the way that yourself, the same wine, and our vineyard is on the right of the river, and the other vineyard is on the left of the river, and they have similar similar age, the plants. The results is totally different, because they have different type of personality, the producer, and this express yourself and express your personality. And so even if it's the same grapes, the results can be totally different, can look totally different wines. Of course, in that soil you plant like a vitigno that is, it cannot survive, or cannot give, you know, the right shadow, you know, that you are never going to create a great product. That is my point.
I think what Francesca is referring to, which is a lot, it's one of the, let's say, one of the criteria for the products that Vero selects is a sense of place. So, you know, I think all of these winemakers we've heard from today are thinking a lot about their vineyards as their starting point, you know, which a lot of wine that's sold in the U.S. market, the wineries are thinking about the customers, that and the customers taste they're kind of targeting, you know, a certain wine to achieve a certain taste profile, whereby these winemakers are thinking of their vineyards, and you know, it's like, you know, farm to glass type.
And there are we do have vineyards in California. I mean, we have a lot of commercial wineries in California that do not start with the vineyard and do not start with the land and the grape. That's becoming a lot more abundant, and the girls in Orange County will find this out to be true. But we still have vineyards, especially in Southern California. Now, Northern California obviously has a lot more land and a lot more availability than we do in Southern California. But you will find vineyards in Southern California, and you will find those of us that start with the dirt.
No, or you do as you started, you know, you selected the wine and then you compare, you know, you wanted, like, you were in love with one type of Italian wine, but then your land was adapting with that plant, you know, and so for this reason you get a very good result, and you are satisfied because your land was responding, and you did a hard research before.
Yes,
you know?
yes. And I am a molto felice.
Okay, well, I know we've gone over.
Yeah, I need to run and say goodbye. And I'm sure all of us do, but it was such a pleasure to meet you, ladies. I'm honored to be in your company, and I'm humble. My heart is humble. So please know I'm honored to be in your company, and I look very forward to meeting each and every one of you, seeing your beautiful homes the next time I can get to Italy. And you girls are always welcome up.
Let's hope Italy can open up again very soon.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Welcome if you want to come and visit us.
Thank you.
Keep the conversation going. So I think I mentioned before, I think you all know, we're Vero Vino Gusto, which is our handle, and you know, I think we're all on Instagram, social media. So let's just keep this conversation going on social media.
Thank you, Sheila. It was wonderful.
Can I ask you, Sheila, to share the contacts of everybody that was here tonight so we can keep in touch with everybody?
I'm on LinkedIn. You guys can find me on LinkedIn. I don't do anything else. My wine candy.
I'll send an email. I'll send an email. I know.
Okay.
Okay. I want everybody.
How about before everyone hangs up, can we have a ching ching to our webcam?
Yes.
Everybody, a little.
Thank you,
A
Sheila.
little, yes.
Now I can drink some wine.
What are you drinking?
This is it's Skin Contact Albana, made in Amphora. So,
Wait, I have to open my bottle.
Oh, we're waiting.
Sheila, that is a big glass.
having Dana and Willa.
This is a rosé. We're drinking French wine. I'm sorry, we're drinking the wrong thing.
You're drinking French wine. It's okay. I like French wine.
What did you say?
I love good Beaujolais. I love French Beaujolais. So, okay.
And Terry, are you drinking anything?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
Yeah.
that looks beautiful. And what?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Ciao.
Thank you, and you too. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Ciao, ciao,
Ciao,
ciao.
ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Very much, Sheila. Ciao.
You're welcome. Bye. Ciao.